Hey, let's go ahead and talk about this. How can I improve my struggling marriage? I mean, I can tell you for a fact that it can be super challenging to improve a struggling marriage. I mean, I have been divorced. I understand that really well. But let me show you this. So after struggling in my own marriages and not doing well, and then I wrote a book called The Secret to Marriage. I also pre-planned this based on, what I needed to do to become a better me. So we're just going to talk just a second about, what we really need to think about when it comes to creating a better marriage. So your marriage doesn't have to struggle. I can assure you that your marriage can be exactly what you want it to be if you're both willing to do certain things. And sometimes, both aren't willing to do it. So it makes it a little bit more challenging. But the point is this, is you can have a better marriage. It doesn't have to always be in the shit pot. It doesn't have to always be just down in the dumps where you're miserable, you're walking on eggshells. These things don't have to happen. In my opinion, and I'll do a video on this, I think it's the man who sets the tone for the marriage, the man who sets the tone for how well the marriage goes. All of this matters. This is my opinion only, but I believe that a man can make and create and just destroy a marriage just because of who they decide to be as a person. I know sometimes they blame the woman, but let me assure you of this, that I believe that every action has a reaction. And if I want a different reaction, I need to provide a better action for you as my wife to be able to have. Okay, so we're going to start with this. Okay, how can I improve my struggling marriage? So one thing I teach is this, is I teach planning a new strategy. Plan a new strategy. So let's talk about planning a new strategy. So let's start with this. You can't force change on your spouse. You can't force your spouse to change at all. You can't force them to do anything you want them to do. That's the reality. I want you to understand that now. You cannot force them to do or be something they don't want to be. If they don't want a better marriage, I promise you it'll never be a better marriage. And what I found in coaching couples over the years and helping them with their marriages was that many times they have no idea what they really want. They have no idea what they want in marriage. They have no idea what they want from a wife, no idea what they want from themselves. And they just want a quick fix to fix it right now, to bring it back to where it was, day one. So, but you can influence your spouse to change. Now, understand this, forcing your spouse to change and influencing them to change are two very different things. So if, let's say my wife's mad at me all the time, I can influence that behavior to where she's not mad at me all the time, very quickly and very easily. I can't force her to change it, but I can definitely influence it. And I think with most women are giving, caring, kind, loving, emotional creatures who just love to be loved, love to be cared for, love to be made to feel secure, who love just that person in the relationship that brings them absolute value every single day. So when I say influence someone to change and to be different, we do that by who we are as a person. If I come home every single day and my wife has to walk on eggshells, well, shit, what do I expect out of her? Do I really expect her to be this happy-go-lucky wife who's so excited to see me? Or should I really honestly expect to see a wife who just like dreads the fact that here he's coming home. He's going to do this again. He's going to be this way again. He's going to come in and be an asshole. He's rude. He's disrespectful. Now, granted, it can go both ways. You can have a wife who's the same way. You can have a husband who's the same way. But the point is we can influence change by our own actions. I always call them that we create predetermined actions, pre-planned actions, that we plan on being a different way. One of the things I would say this, if you're used to coming home and you're sort of an asshole, you're in a bad mood, it's unfair to your spouse. First of all, let me tell you that. It's unfair to your spouse for them to have to carry your burden of being an asshole just because you're in a bad mood. Now, also understand this, that just because they're in a bad mood doesn't mean it's personal. Unless they take it out on you, then it probably becomes personal. So when I look at predetermined actions, pre-planned behaviors, I look at it like this, that I tell myself when I walk in, when I get off work, I'm going to do X, Y, or Z. When I get home, I'm going to walk in, I'm going to find my wife, I'm going to smile, I'm going to hug her, I'm going to kiss her, and I'm going to tell her hi. I'm going to make her feel good. So all I've done is I pre-planned an action that I want to see. And it makes, so you're learning to become a different you. You're learning to become the very best version of yourself by predetermined, pre-planned actions. I know this may sound crazy to you, but it absolutely works. So then you create a pre-planned action, a pre-planned response to almost everything that happens in your relationship until it becomes a habit. You want everything you do to become a habit, because right now your subconscious is driving your boat. If you're used to being a certain way, you're just used to it. Your subconscious, that's all it knows. You've not trained it to be any certain specific way. So the goal here is to get you to train yourself to be a certain way when you walk in that door, when your wife says this, when your husband says this. We want to recreate who we are as a couple, as a person, because that's going to make the difference. And that's how we influence change. If I'm used to walking in and being an asshole, well, shit, I should expect, that response that I would get if I'm an asshole. But now, what if I start walking in and I'm nice every day? I'm kind to my wife. I make her feel special, make her feel loved, make her feel wanted, and make her feel needed. All of a sudden, I now have a whole new reaction from her. At first, she might go, okay, like, what do you want? It might be just like, what do you want? Because they see you being nice all of a sudden. But the goal is you're nice for one reason. And that one reason is because that's who you want to be as a man and as a woman. You want to be nice. You want to be that kind of person who is loving, caring, and kind. Because whether you leave a first marriage, a second marriage, a third marriage, a 50th marriage, it doesn't make a difference. Wherever you go, there you are. And if you don't learn to take the best version of yourself with you when you go, well, let me assure you this, you'll have the exact same problems. Because once the newness wears off, you're left with who you really are. You're left with exactly who you are, who you were to that other spouse. It doesn't change. I learned this the hard way. And I can tell you there's a simpler solution. That's to create a plan around your marriage. If you went into business, what do you do? What's the first thing you do when you go into business? You create a business plan. You create a plan of how you're going to execute X, Y, Z. Every part of your business. That's what marriages should be as well. You should create a marriage plan as to how you plan on being as a husband, as a wife, as a father, as a mother. These are going to be very important things for you to learn as to how to create a marriage plan that is going to bring empowerment to your marriage. I could talk on this all day long. When I wrote this book, The Secret to Marriage, I promise you it took a lot of effort and a lot of thinking and a lot of hardship and a lot of tears. But I practiced every single thing in this book for years before I wrote it. And I realized, holy shit, I am in control of me. And everything I did for my wife, I did because that's what I wanted to do. And that's who I wanted to be. I wanted to be a good man. I wanted to be a loving husband. I wanted to be a kind husband. I wanted to be the kind of husband that when you looked at me, you're like, damn, I got a good catch. I mean, that's what I wanted to see, not just because I'm a good looking man or whatever you may think. But the point is, I like what I see when I look in the mirror myself. And that's what's important. It's not ego, because my number one thing is, I always say this, what if you woke up every single day and you said these very words? What can I do today to make my marriage better today than it was yesterday? And you live by that principle of how can I make it better today than it was yesterday? And you're always focused on that one principle, making it better today, because you have today and that's all you have. So why not let's focus on today? You can't focus on yesterday's problems because they're gone. I mean, they only linger because we choose to let them linger. Our goal should be to focus on new things, to become a better us and to change who we are, especially as men. Man, I'm telling you, this is my opinion about us men, is we are responsible for how well these marriages go. It is us. It is on us. Either we're going to fuck it up or we're going to make it better. And it's my goal to make sure we make it better. I say, like, treat your marriage like your business, because your business you value so much and you track every single thing that you're doing in your business. You have all these KPIs in your business, and this is huge for your marriage. Why don't you start tracking what you're doing, what you're saying, how you're saying it, and ask yourself, is what I am doing giving me the result that I want? And if it's not giving you the result you want, then maybe you need to change what you're doing to get a better result. That's going to make the difference. So I always say this, change yourself first. No matter what you do, change yourself first. It has to start somewhere, so why not with you? Don't try to force your spouse to change. Just change you. Change you into becoming the best version of yourself. You do this for one reason, because that's who you want to be. You want to be a better person, a better man, a better woman, a better husband, a better wife. You're doing this for nobody else but you, because if you are to leave this marriage, I want you to take the best version of yourself with you, that you've created these new habits of who you want to be, how you want to be, what it looks like. When I would ask people, I'd say, hey, what kind of marriage do you want? They would say to me, well, I want a great marriage. But, oh, that's awesome. Well, what's a great marriage? And they were like, one where, well, we communicate. They would really have no idea is the point. They never took the time to think about what a great marriage was to them. And remember, this is always evolving, because you may be doing something and it may be great at the time, but it evolves and becomes something different that continues to make it great, because your life changes over time. You could have chaos, you could have crisis, you could have all these different things that come about that cause you to change what you consider a great marriage. But the point is I want you to start thinking about what is a great marriage to you? What's a great marriage to you as a husband and as a wife? How far apart are you two on this marriage thing? I mean, it could be husband, wife. I mean, it doesn't make a difference to me. But the point is, how far off are you both in regards to what you think is a great marriage? Because this spouse may say this is a great marriage, this spouse may say this is a great marriage, and you're not even close, anywhere near close. So now how do we bring those together and combine those to make that a great marriage? All right. So a question I was always asked was this: well, what if I change, but my spouse doesn't? That's a great question. Super great question. Remember this: you're changing because you want to change. You're not changing for your spouse. You're changing for yourself. You're changing because you want to be the best husband you can be. You're changing because you want to be the best wife you can be. You're changing because you value the relationship over being right. You value you being the best person in that relationship at all times, always, no matter what happens. You're still doing it because that's who you want to become. Now, don't sit in a marriage if it's abusive, there's violence. My suggestion to you is leave the marriage. Don't ever tolerate it. Remember this: what you tolerate is what you'll always get more of. I promise you that. In a relationship, if you tolerate abuse, you'll always get more abuse. Fuck that. Don't tolerate abuse ever. You don't deserve it. Free that motherfucker, or female, male, I don't give a shit what, because I've seen both sides where it was the female who was physically abusive and the man just took the shit. Don't do it. Move along. Remember, you're changing because you want to change, and that's what's important. So it doesn't matter if your spouse changes. It'd be nice, but remember, we can influence change by how we are. Because typically, if we act a certain way, we're going to get a certain response. And that's what's good about this. And if you have a spouse who gives a shit, who wants to change, who wants to be better, I promise you it can make all the difference in the world. I always say, treat the marriage like a business. You're always tracking everything you're doing. You're seeing what's working, you're seeing what's not working, you're killing what's not working, you're making things better. If you treat it like a business, what you love the most, it's going to really be good. You're going to really pay attention to those things. Okay. Another question I always got asked was, how long should it take before you see some change? Well, change can be immediate. It can be absolutely immediate right now, today, in yourself. Can't guarantee what changes in somebody else, but I know it can be immediate for them as well. You can right now stop focusing on the problems that you have and start focusing on the solutions you want. That's the key. Now, you leave those problems back there and we start focusing on new solutions, and all of a sudden, most of the time, those problems don't seem like they're really problems anymore in so many ways. But you have to focus on something different, because change is going to happen immediately, and sometimes it's a little slower process. This is why I always say just be patient. As long as you're working towards a specific goal, a specific outcome, you're both working towards creating better habits, better attitudes, better personalities, better responses. You've created predetermined responses. You pre-planned everything that you're going to do in your marriage in regards to how you're going to act as a husband, act as a wife, because you're creating a better version of you and who you want to be. Because when you think about it, I would ask a man, I'd say, look, well, how do you want to be as a husband? He goes, well, I want to be kind. I want to be loving. I want to be caring. I want to be someone that my wife looks up to. I want to feel significant. But his behaviors weren't congruent with what he wanted. So the key was to get him to start changing his behaviors to where it influenced change in his spouse and his wife. And that's what made the big difference, is you influence change by your actions. Okay, so here we go. Wait, we can talk about this all day long. So change happens with a new focus. This is what I tell people, like, when you focus on something different, you're going to get change. Because think about this, if you'll never get a better marriage with the same focus you had. If all you have is this and you continue to do this, well, you're going to continue to have that. The key is change your focus. Change what you're focusing on. If you're focusing on a great marriage, on better attitudes, better personalities, better responses, better ways of doing things, making it better, going out of your way to make your spouse feel loved and cared. So something my wife tells me, she says, Eric, I want you to spend more time with me in the kitchen while I cook. And for me, I don't like cooking, but I've learned that this is important to her. So I'll hang out in the kitchen with her while she cooks. She wants me to be present with her in that time, because then at this time she's talking. We're having a good time. I listen to what she's saying. And I could be like wanting to go watch TV or something. But what I realize is I value the relationship over my need to go do nothing, which is basically just watch TV or just go relax on the couch. Maybe you've had a long day. So we find better ways to become, because the more you do something, the easier it gets to do it. That's the key here in this relationship building process, is the more you do it, you're creating muscle memories, physical memories in every possible way. And it gets a lot easier to do these things. But the point here is this. You just have to make some changes in yourself first and realize that if our focus stays where it is as a couple, well, shit, it's never going to go anywhere. You have to change your focus as a couple, what you're focusing on, what your goals are. I would ask a couple this. I would say, look, allergy season for me. I would say to them, what are you guys focused on? What are your goals for your marriage? What real goals do you have for your marriage? I mean, you think about the whole process of getting married. When you were planning the wedding, you had all these specific goals for the planning of the wedding. You had everything completely lined out as to what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. But then when it came to the marriage part, you had zero goals for your marriage as far as what you wanted to accomplish, what you wanted to do, who you wanted to be as a husband, who you wanted to be as a wife, how you wanted to be, who you wanted to be as a father, who you wanted to be as a mother. All these things, you had zero goals to work towards. So the point here is this: come up with some goals for your marriage. Write out a whole list of goals. I would say this: I can't meet a need if I don't know what the need is. I can't meet a want if I don't know what the want is. So if you want me to be a certain way, if you need me to be a certain way, I need you to tell me. If you have a need that you need done, that you need really specifically given attention to in your own personal life, and you need it from me, I need to know what that is. My wife will tell you, I told her day one, don't ever expect me to read your mind, because I'm not going to try to. I'm not even going to try to read your mind. I'm not even going to play the game of, well, you should know these things already. Bullshit. Neither one of you should play that game. What you should do is say, hey, look, this is what's important to me, and this is why. I would like you to do this because it really brings value to me as your spouse. It makes all the difference. We're just changing. We're creating some goals. We're changing our focus, and we're looking how we can become better as a person in the marriage. All right. We'll end it with this one here, so I can go on this forever. Create a new plan. This is crucial to making your marriage work. Just create a new plan. Just like a business. Write out that business plan. Write out that marriage plan. Write out what you want it to look like, what you want it to be, where you want it to go, how you want it to be, how it's going to look, how it's going to look with your kids, how it's going to look with just you and you two together, where you're going to go, when you're going on vacation, how money is managed. Create a plan that works for both of you. Not just a plan where one has to be the fucking dictator, one has to be the fucking ruler of the home. Bullshit with that. You are a couple. You are together, making decisions together, and you're going to do this as a team. So build a marriage plan that's going to build value to your relationship. I promise you this can make all the difference in the world. And once again, my name is Eric Rios. I'm the author of The Secret to Marriage. You can find it on Amazon. It's listed under my middle name, Eric F. Rios. Get the book. At the end of the day, your marriage is only going to be what you want it to be. If you want it to be like shit, well, just keep doing what you have. If you want it to be great, make a decision to make it great. Make a decision to make it great starting today. Remember, change can happen immediately, but it all depends on you. There's a lot to this. I know there is. I promise you. But let me tell you this, is you can do this. If I could do it, I know for a fact you can do it too. So I'm so excited for you. I can't wait to see how well you guys do. If you need something, I always put my cell phone on here that you can text me, 314-591-0479. We're here to serve you at your highest level and in your business and in your relationship, because your business and relationship are basically one and the same thing, because if your marriage sucks, your business is going to struggle. If your business sucks, your marriage can struggle. The goal is to bring these both together so you guys can have the best marriage, the best business together at the same time. And I know you can do this. Appreciate you guys. Eric Rios, 314-591-0479. Shoot me a text if you need help. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Can't wait to see you guys in the next video.